Hello, friends. I welcome you for the lecture series on production technology. So this will be our first lecture of the upcoming lecture series in production technology. The major part we will be covering is what are the basic manufacturing process available, and then in the fifth unit we will be covering about the metrology part. So this particular subject is about identifying the various manufacturing process available, starting from the basic process of casting, where a metal is formed. We will move to machining, where we can change the shape of the component, and then we will move on to metrology, which is about measurement. So, just with this quick overview, now let's get straight into our topic, which is metal joining process. The first unit is metal joining process. So here, what we'll be covering is two main subheadings. One will be the sand casting, followed by different casting process, and the second half will be about the welding process. So both together we form new material, either in casting or in welding. A new material or a new component is produced. So how it is produced, we'll see in detail in the upcoming slides. Right. So for today's topic, we will be learning about the sand casting process actually. Yeah. So getting into the sand casting process, what is casting? First, we have to see what is casting. So casting is a process of producing a component in a specific shape. Casting is generally used for manufacturing of metals. We can generalize that predominantly metals are formed using the casting process. And hence, what metal casting process means is that you are creating a shape of a object with the help of an impression. So you'll be having a die or a pattern which will be the exact replica of the component which we are making. So that die will be used to make an impression on sand in case of sand casting, or other materials in case of special casting, which we will see in the subsequent lectures. So once the impression is made on the sand, molten metal will be poured over it, and the required size and shape of the component will be obtained. So this is the overview of casting process. So why we are using sand? That's the next question. So typically sand is reusable. And if you see the properties of sand, sand is flowable, which means that you can easily move the sand particles. And then sand is refractory in nature. So refractoriness, what it means is that the ability to withstand high heat. So we all know sand is refractory in nature. Silica is generally heat resistant. That's why we are using silica in manufacturing of bricks, clay pots, which are all some kind of silica, and then glass. So everything is heat resistant. So hence we are using silica. So we are using silica in sand casting also. So what we do in the sand casting process is that we will first mix sand in the required composition. Just I will give an overview of sand casting in this lecture. First, you have to mix the sand in the required ratio. Why you have to mix it? This will be your assignment for the next class. Just analyze why we have to use a composition of sand. As we can see here, we are using a composition of sand, not a single sand. So there are different types of sand. You can say red soil, black soil, river sand, desert sand. So different types of soil is available. So we are using a combination of some of these types of soil. Why we are using combination of some of these different soils? We'll see. And then mold preparation. Mold is nothing but it's the cavity or space in which molten metal will be poured. And then different types of molds. So what are different types of molds available? Be it sand casting or metal casting or pressure die casting, the mold varies. So here one thing you have to notice, first we have to identify the sand which we are using, and then we have to choose which pattern we are using. Pattern is nothing but it's a replica of the object which we are making. For example, if we are making a dumbbell using casting, Then you have to have a replica of dumbbell, which can be used for making the mold cavity. Why we cannot use the dumbbell directly? We will see later. So first we have to make a pattern. So once pattern is made, then we can prepare the mold cavity and casting and so on. So I hope you got an overview of sand casting process. So in the subsequent lecture, we will discuss how we are doing each process. Thank you.